Okay, so what is a hyperreal simulacrum? Essentially what it is you're basically just living in an alternate reality. The things that you believe about the world and about how society is and reality around you just aren't really, they're not true. They're not really representative of what is actually going on. And you see a lot of people talking about this. It's kind of just the new term for like being in an echo chamber. For instance, like in terms of what it can look like in the world, if you remember that caravan a few years ago that was coming up from El Salvador, I think it was like 1,000 people, and Fox News was essentially acting like this caravan was like the Mongol horde that was going to come and destroy the country. Like they were just following this horde of, or this caravan of like 1,000 people. They were constantly reporting on it and making it seem like this is the worst thing in the world, when the reality is, like, sure, there are people coming into our country that have nefarious intentions. Yes, absolutely. But is everybody in that caravan like a criminal? Like, are they all going to come here and just cause havoc and mayhem? And even if they are, like, it's only 1,000 people. Is that really that much worse than like the millions of people that are already here that are causing havoc and crime and destruction? But if you live in a simulacrum and you're kind of like in the Fox News Republican simulacrum, you might believe like, man, this is gonna really fuck us up. This is really bad. When in reality, there are a lot more pressing concerns in the country. And I'm not doing this to just like dunk on Republicans, but that's just the first thing that comes to mind. There are so many people that, because of social media, just believe things about the world that are really not true. And it's actually hurting your ability to connect with others, because you're listening to people online who are afraid of immigrants, or they're afraid of women, or they're afraid of men. And so they will take a statistic about something that's going on in the world, and that statistic may be true, but then they're going to amplify it and blow it up to where you're going to get so worried about it and think, oh my God, this group is like evil and they hate me. When the reality is that most people in reality that aren't on social media constantly are just normal people that are trying to get by. And we all kind of fall victim to this from time to time, because human beings are prone to error. We're prone to just making mistakes. You know, everybody kind of sins and fucks up, and it's just human nature. And one way to test if you're actually in like a simulacrum that's been put in your head by some tech company or a Republican party, not a party, the Democrats do this shit too, but these people don't have your best interests at heart. Like, they are trying to hijack your mind and get you to act a certain way and vote a certain way that's going to benefit them. It's not going to benefit you. That's why you see a lot of people that are just voting against their self-interest all the time, because their brains have kind of just been hijacked by these people. And one way to test if you're in one or not is if, when you're presented with like contrary information, what is your reaction? Do you say, oh, well, maybe you're right? Or, you know, do you change your mind? Do you at least like consider what the other person has to say? Because if you do that, you're probably not, or you're at least capable of reasoning and questioning your beliefs. But if you get very angry, or you don't want to hear it, or you just like shut down the conversation totally, that could be a result of you being in sort of a simulacrum or an echo chamber and not actually being in reality, because reality is very complex. There are a lot of different ways of looking at events in the world, and there isn't really one ideology or one way of looking at the world that's completely truthful or accurate or right. The world is very complicated. But if somebody challenges one of your beliefs, you're getting like very angry or scared or emotional. It's not because they're challenging that belief itself. They're challenging your version of reality that you have created. And so, because if you're looking at things in sort of a non-judgmental, like, I'm looking for the word, like a non-biased way, if somebody gives you information that could prove something you believe is wrong, you just be like, all right, well, maybe I'm wrong. I'll switch to this other belief. But if you're not doing that and you get pissed off if somebody criticizes your political beliefs or what you believe about the world, you're probably living in like a simulacrum because you just can't deal with reality. You have constructed an alternate reality for yourself to sort of cope with a lot of your insecurities and fears about the world. And the way to combat that is to just touch grass and go outside and talk to people and just realize that most people aren't these caricatures of villains that you see on social media. Most people are kind of just trying to, like I said, just live their life and get by. So that's it. That's all I have to say.